Hey, Mr. Engineer, can I walk with you a while and learn to read the signs of life through the eyes of a child? Say, Madam Engineer, will you let me follow you so I can learn how I should lead my crew?
Not have this celebration.
Yo, Pop, where you going?
Oh, I'm going to see some engineers who are building a scaffolding to the future. Where are you going?
Yo, does it look like I'm going anywhere?
No, just drifting.
Hanging.
Wasting time.
Chilling. Hey, where that thing going over there?
Oh, that? That descends downward toward rejection, oppression, misery, and despair. That is a tower to nowhere.
And where's that one going?
That is a ladder to learning, yearning, earning, and health. That is a climb up to wealth.
Yo, how a person supposed to know which way to take? I mean, there ain't no signs.
Oh, there are signs if you know where to look.
Well, how you supposed to know where to look?
Well, you learn from somebody who has climbed up there before. You only follow somebody who knows where they're going. How does your posse know where to go day in and day out?
I tell them, and they better do it too, or else.
So you lead them. They follow you because they think you know where you're going. Well, that's the way of life. But what happens when you don't? What happens when you lead them down this climb to misery and despair? How do you think that'll make them feel?
Yo, I don't know. But look, I ain't gonna be no wrong.
I hope you're right. But I fear for you. I fear because without someone to follow right, it is so easy to drift wrong. Kind of like a piece of driftwood that goes with the flow. Problem is, when you go with the flow, you just go where the flow goes. And most of the time, the flow goes down to the sewer. Well, good night. And good luck.
Hey, Mr. Engineer, can I walk with you a while and learn to read the signs of life through the eyes of a child? Say, Madam Engineer, will you let me follow you so I can learn how I should lead my crew?
Come walk with me for a while. I have something I want you to see. I want you to meet some people who are hanging and chilling in a very different sort of way. People who, for the most part, began just like you, but discovered some powerful lessons along the way. Lessons that help them to advance far beyond mere ordinary expectations. They left prints on the rungs of the ladder to success for children like you to follow. But be warned, these are not ordinary people. So what you're about to witness is extraordinary. Prints left by feet that ushered giants of the ladder of success through this pageantry called life. So if you dare come along and bring your posse, they will love this song. There are legions of black achievers stretching as far back as the mind can grasp. For thousands of centuries, they have striven in the shadows, making blind contributions to countless scientific victories. Once, not very long ago, a prophecy envisioned this time when high-flying achievers would emerge from the caverns phoenix-like, up from the ashes of obscurity to the core of our vision, blazing a dazzling path into the future. Mark now, as a vanguard of winners process before your very eyes. These early honored are come here merely so that you may see and believe. They will pass in review to signify that they are positioned for even greater things to come. Let us hear them well. As the announcer calls their names, take heed. They will certainly pass this way again.
The following winners received their awards earlier today. Roberto Young, Leon Pickett Jr., Dr. Kevin Carnegie, Dr. Beverly Watford, Valerie Horton, Tanya Chambliss, Alfred D. Lawson, Jim Ganthier, Valicia Macklin, Arthur George, John Longstreet, Jim Lynch II, and Dr. Carl Johnson.
that it?
No, that was only the vanguard. The rest are coming now. Are you sure you're ready?
Look, stop posturing and promising and show already.
Very well. This first spirit guide is ready to appear. A high-flying achiever in his own right. He comes here tonight to publicly recognize magnificent achievement in corporate promotion of education.
He looks mighty important.
Remember when I told you that everybody needs somebody to follow? Well, tonight, you're going to hear executive leaders who are, in large measure, the mentors, role models, and spirit guides of tonight's honorees. This public acknowledgement is the highest form of praise for these high-ranking executives to devote their time to this ceremony. But we didn't come here to see so much as to hear. So now listen carefully to what this spirit guide has to say about this winner. Oh, you're going to love this.
The award for corporate promotion of education will be presented by Darrell Fraser, Vice President for Communications at TRW Systems.
Rosalind Hudnell is Public Affairs Manager for the Central Region of the Intel Corporation. As such, she assures that the corporation in her region acts like a responsible citizen and that the public sees the corporation acting like a responsible citizen. One issue confronting every corporation is the community's appeal for equal employment access for all citizens. For Intel Corporation, Rosalind has created the model solution. She was responsible for creation of the Intel Computer Clubhouse Network. This model provides a safe and creative environment in which young people from underserved communities work closely with adult mentors to explore ideas and develop marketable skills. At Rosalind's urging, Intel and its corporate partners announced a 5-year, $30 million plan to develop computer clubhouses in 100 locations across the U.S. and around the world. Today, some 34 clubhouses have been opened and others are on the way. The Congressional Black Caucus recognized the Clubhouse Initiative as an innovative approach to reaching underserved youth. Intel gave Rosalind Hudnell and her team its highest recognition, the Intel Achievement Award. So we are very pleased to acknowledge Rosalind Hudnell's magnificent contribution with this Black Engineer of the Year Award for corporate promotion of education.
My parents were educators who modeled excellence in achievement. I learned early in life to set my goals real high. But somehow along the way, I came to believe that success was measured by the title on my business card. This made my climb up the corporate ladder swift, but without a true sense of fulfillment. Then one day, I decided to make a complete change and focus my energies on helping others. This too was modeled by my mother. Instantly, my professional achievements transmuted into personal satisfaction. I am so honored to be recognized tonight and applaud my family, my mentor, and others who have supported my growth along this journey. Thank you.
Boy, I bet it takes all the fun out of living just to get that award. She must spend all her time working. When does she have time to just chill, just hang out?
Well, she is just chilling. These people aren't winners because they win these awards. They win these awards because they are winners, because they performed a service for the community. That is why this next award is so vital to the ritual being played out here tonight. It is the award for outstanding community service. Now, here comes another guide. Are you listening? Okay.
Lieutenant General Robert Flowers is commander of the United States Army Corps of Engineers and Chief of Engineers of the United States Army. He is here to present the award for outstanding community service. General Flowers.
Thank you. Dr. Jesse Bemley is a computer specialist for the United States Army. He's been a systems analyst for the District of Columbia Board of Elections, computer specialist for the Drug Enforcement Administration, and 16 years as an information technology worker for the Army. But his other passion is education. 20 years ago, shortly after completing his doctorate in administration, Dr. Bemley started the Joint Educational Facilities Community Computer Center. He located it in an elementary school in southeast Washington, D.C. That nonprofit, community-based center, founded with Dr. Bemley's own resources, exposes high school students to advanced computer systems with an emphasis on artificial intelligence. It prepares students for admission into the science and engineering pipeline prior to college by emphasizing oral, reading, and vocabulary skills with weekend and evening classes throughout the year. Colleagues in the National Technical Association and in the D.C. Metropolitan Organization of Black Scientists marvel at another Bemley operation, the annual D.C. Computer Science Conference for Washington High School students. The Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at American University says that for 10 years, the event has provided a professional-style setting for students to publish their work. I am honored to present this award for community service to Dr. Jesse Bemley.
I grew up in Tennessee picking cotton for $4 a day. For most, the cotton fields were a cradle-to-grave proposition, but I wanted more. When I shared my dreams of someday going to college, my friends taunted me abusively, but their taunts only fueled my desire. At the end of the summer of my graduation year, I dropped my cotton sack, picked up my dreams, and rode out of town on a 120-mile dust cloud. As I look back, I'm grateful for this lesson. Sometimes dreams can be empowered by the pessimism of one's peers. Thank you.
So this community service means that there are people out there working to build a bridge so we can cross it easier when we come along, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then why don't they just tell us they're out there? Why they gotta be so crabby about it?
One time, a moose was admiring his reflection in the lake, just loudly loving his long antlers. They were the most beautiful antlers in the world, he thought. But as he looked at his legs, oh, they were too skinny, they were too puny. Perhaps the moose thought, I can trade the legs in. Just as he was thinking that thought, a hunter whistled an arrow right past his head, and the moose ran off. Around the bend, his gorgeous antlers were caught in a branch, and he was caught by the hunter. The last words the moose spoke as he looked at his skinny legs were these: we often despise that which is most useful to us. Remember how you received me earlier tonight? Perhaps because of your own crabbiness, you can't see those who come to help you.
Anyway, what is this Entrepreneur.
That word is entrepreneur. That is a person who courageously undertakes considerable risk to start a business. They're visionaries who see a problem and use their magnificent talents to devise a solution. They then organize the necessary resources to deliver this solution to the people who need it. Now, in the process, they provide income for workers, taxes for the community, and security for a grateful nation. To honor such an inventive life force, this next spirit guide enters with uncommon pep in her step. Listen.
The award for Entrepreneur of the Year will be presented by Linda Gooden, who is an officer of the Lockheed Martin Corporation and president of Lockheed Martin Information Technology.
Rodney Hunt had a mind for business early in life. At 14, he started a lawn care company whose sales grew to more than 125,000, employing over 30 youngsters. From high school, he was drafted to a baseball contract with a $75,000 signing bonus. But his parents encouraged him to choose a more sustainable course. So after completing college, Rodney played baseball for a St. Louis Cardinal farm team and worked in the off-season with IBM and Booz Allen in Hamilton. He delivered papers that the senior consultants wrote for their clients. He often read them and was struck by how frequently their recommendations went unheeded. Rodney teamed with Scott Amy to fill an unmet need for consultants who not only made but implemented their own suggestions. Tonight, we honor Rodney for his foresight in starting that company, RSIS, in 1993 with only $5,000 in capital. The company is now worth over $150 million and employs 1,300 scientists and technical professionals around the world. The firm started as an 8A set-aside contractor, but now 80% of the business is standalone, and 60% of his employees are from traditionally excluded groups. It is a grand pleasure for me to present this Black Engineer Entrepreneur Award to Rodney Hunt.
Good evening. When I was 11, I visited a grandfather who took me to his attic and with great tenderness presented me with his old college engineering books. His wonderment and excitement made me see myself as an engineer. I continued to excel in academics and athletics throughout my middle and high school years. But upon graduation, I was offered a professional baseball contract and a full engineering scholarship to Cornell University. What a dichotomy. After pondering the opportunities, risks, and rewards associated with such a decision at age 17, my parents cleared up the confusion when they said, if you play baseball now and get hurt, you can get stuck working as an uneducated gas station attendant with no way to pull yourself up. But if you choose college, you can become a baseball player, become an engineer, and the most important thing, still be acknowledged as our son. I'm truly grateful for the excitement, enthusiasm, and insight that my grandfather had at such a tender young age. And most importantly, I'm grateful for the support, love, and confidence that my parents gave me growing up as a child. I was able to realize all of my dreams, a professional baseball career, an engineer, and now to be recognized for my entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Now, you see, little one, what you and your friends are seeking is a guarantee that life will be forever wonderful. Well, you're too young to appreciate it right now, but it will be. So long as you remember that today's investment is tomorrow's only promise. You can pretty much predict where people will be tomorrow by watching what they do today. You see that fellow sleeping in that seat right over there? Well, that's probably where he'll be tomorrow. But now, listen to these next citations and see what it takes to become a person of promise.
This next presenter is the General Manager of Pervasive Computing at IBM. He is here to present the award for Most Promising Scientist. Please welcome Rodney Atkins.
Dr. Ingram Ogunwumi is a senior scientist at Corning Sullivan Park facility doing real-world research as an analytical polymer chemist on why lead-acid storage batteries fail and what happens inside diesel filters on your foreign automobiles. Rochelle wanted to be a school teacher. In 1988, she was a congressional scholar, performed in regional piano competition, earned a spot on the homecoming court, won the AKA Cotillion Scholarship, then went on to get a BS degree at North Carolina State University. She was well on the way to becoming a chemistry teacher when fate intervened again. Rochelle made the Dean's List annually, joined 3 honor societies, tutored, peer-mentored underclassmen, and completed her student teaching. In 1992, Rochelle won the Patricia Roberts Harris Fellowship to study analytical chemistry at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and by graduation had published a report on gold cluster compounds in science and presented the work at the 213th American Chemical Society National Meeting. In 1997, she went to work for Corning on the storage battery project and the catalytic activity study, designing a detection system that could screen more catalysts, hot gas filters, and diesel engine filters. Wow. Now you can see why we present this award to Rochelle Ingram Ogunwumi as the most promising scientist.
When I was a child, I was exceedingly curious. I wondered, why does salt disappear when you stir it into water? Or what makes syrup flow so slowly? In school, my teachers asked the same questions in science class, and I was ecstatic. One day I came to realize why I was so thoroughly exhilarated by experiments and demonstrations. They let me test reactions and explore properties firsthand, finding answers to those pesky questions plaguing me since childhood. Such exuberance for science, liberally endorsed by parents and teachers, drove me to a career in chemistry. Now I live my dream every day, finding answers to those questions, why and how.
The second award for Most Promising Engineer will be presented by David Calbaugh, Assistant Director for Programs at the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory.
The Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory was extremely fortunate to hire Jason Bunn. Jason had earned bachelor's and master's degrees in aeronautics and astronautics at MIT with very high grade point averages and interned at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory while completing his coursework. He had then worked for 3 years at Lockheed Martin on satellite systems. He sent his resume to us unsolicited. His academic achievements and excellent work experience made him a superb candidate for JHU APL. One of Jason's first accomplishments at the lab was for the Contour spacecraft, which will fly by and explore more closely than ever before several comets in our solar system. He designed and tested the attitude estimation algorithm that will keep the spacecraft properly oriented for the all-important measurements and communications. We recognized that Jason's algorithm was applicable to another spacecraft called Messenger, which will explore the planet Mercury, and Jason adapted his design for that mission. In December, he presented a co-authored paper on his Contour design at the 16th International Symposium on Spaceflight Dynamics. I am proud to present this award for Most Promising Engineer to Jason Bunn.
When I was growing up, I treasured science fiction. I loved to read and watch the marvelous adventures of the USS Enterprise and the Rebel Alliance. One day, in 6th grade, a teacher interrupted class to tell us the Space Shuttle Challenger had exploded. That day, my interest in science fiction crystallized. While I was distressed by the news of the explosion, I was fascinated by the determination to triumphantly return America to space. NASA's powerful resolve inspired my commitment to become an aerospace engineer. Such a heartrending disaster, so violent, visible, and vast, had that instant spawned a dream that led me here today. Thank you.
The next presentation is for the award labeled Most Promising Engineer. To make that presentation is Mr. Frank Marcialena, Executive Vice President of the Raytheon Company and President of Command, Control, Communication, and Information Systems at Raytheon.
Thank you. Terry Lewis was determined to become a pilot and engineer, and he believed in himself. In high school, Terry failed a class. He convinced the principal to let him make up the work, and he graduated on time. To pay for college, Terry worked 2 jobs, a fast food restaurant and a woodworking shop. He joined the Air Force Reserve and enrolled in New York City Technical College. Poor counseling incorrectly placed him into an engineering technology instead of engineering. Terry continued to strive for his dream. When sickle cell trait prevented him from becoming a pilot, Terry became an aircraft mechanic, seeing duty in the Gulf War. With a new sense of determination, Terry took graduate courses at night carrying a 3.71 GPA, allowing the school to admit him as a full-time master's degree in electrical engineering. The master's degree in electrical engineering led him to his employment with Raytheon as an expert in sped spectrum and system security. He is a doctoral fellow expecting to earn a PhD in RF communication engineering from Southern Cal in 2004. He and fellow employees have developed a new kind of radio signal that Raytheon has submitted for a patent. I am very proud to present this award for Most Promising Engineer to Terry Lewis.
Good evening. When I was 10, my parents enrolled me in book clubs. I received one book called 1001 Circuits Using Op Amps. I couldn't understand a single word. Dejected, I returned that book for one that I could understand, but the failure haunted me for years. One day in 1980, I ordered a similar book, deliberately far beyond my comprehension. I attacked it every day, making slow but determined progress to subdue it. The obscure symbols gave way at last, and in 1990, on a battle-weary day doing Desert Shield, I read that book with ease, from start to finish. I carry it now as an always reminder that with focus and determination, there is nothing I can't overcome. Thank you.
Great promise. Just as we've just witnessed, leads to exceptional technical ability. It allows one to master the skills necessary to provide uplift to a whole society by their individual contributions. In these next visions, you'll see some people whose sensational technical contributions show them standing far above the pack to make their mark. Watch.
Admiral Vern Clark is the Chief of Naval Operations of the United States Navy. In this capacity, he acts as the Chief Executive Officer of a vast military branch reaching around the globe and employing over 500,000 military and civilian people, 4,000 aircraft, and 300 ships. He will present the award for Outstanding Technical Contribution in Government.
Thank you very much. We in the United States Navy are so proud of Georgette Gaskin. As Program Manager and Materials Engineer for the Naval Air Systems Command, Georgette is the leader responsible for improving adhesive bonding and sealant technology. She leads an inter-service team to find stronger, environmentally safer bonding adhesives to hold high-performance military airplanes together, and let me tell you, that means a lot to pilots. Gaskin-led initiatives that first focused on maintenance and repair are now incorporated in original construction. The United States Coast Guard has incorporated her work in the repair of their helicopters. And our Western allies are using Gaskin's bonding research in applications for their military aircraft. Her work is contributing to the development of our F-18 fighters and is being considered by the manufacturers for the upcoming multi-billion-dollar Joint Strike Fighter program. Georgette Gaskin is a 1990 engineering alumna from the Johns Hopkins University. In 1995, right here in this auditorium, she was named the most promising engineer. And now, you know that she is not only living up to this honor, but her potential, the potential and honor that you bestowed upon her. I like to say that without naval aviation, we are just like any other Navy. And Georgette's dedicated service has contributed much to our ability to dominate the maritime domain. Our Navy is proud to present Georgette Gaskin with this year's award for Outstanding Technical Contribution in Government.
Thank you, Admiral Clark. I was an extremely shy child who thought I didn't fit in. Being bused to school symbolized to me that others expected me to fail simply because of my race. I could have been crushed, but up ahead of me was my older sister, Gail, who was leading the way, role modeling each day, and taking time to encourage. Gail taught by example that the power to overcome lay deep within, and that while there will forever be those who expect ill of me, excuse me. There will always be those who expect the best. To those who expected the best of me, my parents, George and Louise, my family, my friends, my mentor, Patrick, I thank you for your support. Thank you.
Al Zolar is General Manager of IBM's Lotus Software Division. He has come to present a second award for Outstanding Technical Contribution in Government.
Kelvin Manning is lead vehicle manager of the Space Shuttle Atlantis at the NASA John F. Kennedy Space Center. This means that he manages the managers who manage all of the flights of the NASA Space Shuttle. Kelvin has always been a spaceman ever since he graduated from the Air Force Academy, although he has never flown a mission. His shuttle team expertise began at NORAD, where he monitored Earth-orbiting objects to predict their impacts on the ground. While there, he ran a team of orbital analysts who provided NASA with space shuttle collision avoidance data. Kelvin's team also provided crucial support for the recovery of lost satellites. At the Johnson Space Flight Center, Manning worked in the Space Shuttle Program Development Office, evaluating shuttle upgrades, where his affinity for excellence was stellar. Kevin rose from vehicle manager through acting chief of engineering for shuttle upgrades to lead vehicle manager, handling the entire shuttle fleet. His constant focus on safety and attention to detail has allowed astronauts and cosmonauts to travel safely and operate problem-free between the International Space Station and Earth. I'm honored to present this award for outstanding technical contribution in government to Kelvin Manning.
Neil Armstrong's moonwalk didn't overly influence me. I was impressionable at 10 with a fascination for intrigue, but my focus was getting my dad home from Vietnam alive. There weren't many blacks working at NASA back then, and this hit home when I was excluded in the making of the movie Apollo 13. They said I wasn't historically correct. What the film missed was that while astronauts were going to the moon, my parents had us reaching for the stars. Now, my wife is expecting our first child, who will learn, as I have, there are truly no limits. Thank you.
Now, can't you just see yourself in their shoes? Can't you just picture you and your crew up there accepting awards for avoiding this foolishness you're involved in and getting back to school? Doesn't it just make your heart sing with joy?
Oh, man, are you inhaling something more than your breath? How am I going to get up there? I mean, folks are always telling us kids that we just need to stay in school and get an education. My mama, my daddy, everybody I meet tells me that. Even the wino on the street mumbles, "You gotta stay in school or you end up just like me." Man, any fool can tell you what you gotta do, but who has the answer for how? I mean, don't y'all know we wanna stay in school? We wanna do the right thing. Nobody strives to be a bum. A bum is the thing that you become when all other options fail you. I ain't heard nobody yet say that they wanted to grow up to become a sewage inspector. But how? How? That's the question. And people like y'all don't even come down to the hood. And when you do come, you look down on us like we're dirt. Look, don't use your education to come back here and tell us how stupid we are. Y'all listen to all them news stories about how bad we are and believe everything you hear. Well, why don't you come back to where you grew up, like the salmon in the sea? Maybe you can see your own reflection mirrored in our face. Then you'll learn things you never knew you never knew.
Well, I apologize. I took you for granted. Worse, I didn't take you seriously. I'll avoid that mistake in future. But that is a good metaphor, painting with all the colors of the wind. So let me paint another picture for you. Some folks think you teach by telling. If that were true, we'd all be geniuses because people are telling us things all the time. But these next winners understand that the way you truly teach is by example, by doing, by being so technically proficient at what you do that others are compelled to learn by watching you. Transfixed by your passion. Huh? Listen.
Dr. Kun-Shan Lin is the Vice President of Worldwide Imaging and Audio at Texas Instruments. He is here to make a presentation of the award for outstanding technical contribution in industry. Please welcome Dr. Kun-Shan Lin.
To say that Dr. Vince McNeil is the Japan manager of Texas Instruments Imaging Business Unit doesn't tell you very much unless you work at TI. Vince, a PhD from MIT, an ex-researcher at TI's Semiconductor R&D Center, holds 5 US and 1 Japanese patents, with 3 others pending. So his qualifications as a bona fide research engineer are indisputable. But beyond that, Vince is a stellar businessman, managing a business unit and generating tens of millions of dollars of revenue for Texas Instruments. As a practicing scientist and engineer, Vince has the unique ability to convert the high-tech jargons such as DSP, which stands for digital signal processing, JPEG, MPEG, and deep submicron semiconductor process into something that even our toughest customers in Japan can understand. They, in turn, integrate these technologies into innovative consumer products, such as the digital still camera by Kodak Japan. It actually works. And the world's smallest digital video camcorder from Panasonic. You can actually put this in your pocket. Many innovative products like this will change the way we work, live, and play. Without Vince's technical savvy and strong appreciation of Japanese culture, these products would not have been made possible. It is my pleasure to present this award to such a talented and passionate young manager of Texas Instruments, Dr. Vince McNeil.
Love that theme song. When I was growing up, I was expected to bring home straight A's, was challenged to read everything in sight. I dreamed of becoming a doctor and even carved the vision upon my door, Dr. V. I was primed and I was ready. But one day, a high school counselor, ignoring my total potential, saw only my race and assigned me to a remedial English class. However, that same year, I brought home a prize from the city science fair, dazzling them with a report on holography. Yet another time, I was hospitalized with a broken leg for a month, but still worked hard enough to garner the top grades in my class so that my classmates started calling me the curve killer. So tonight, I'm very grateful to my parents, my teachers, my mentors, my friends, and my loved ones for keeping the expectations of me high, allowing me to keep the focus on the dream, and of course, in all things in my life, God is good. Thank you very much.
A second award for outstanding technical contribution in industry will be presented by Dr. Pertti Karkkinen. Dr. Karkkinen is head of Nokia Research Center, USA, which is a division of the Corporate Research and Development Unit of Nokia.
Dr. John Terry is senior research engineer at Nokia Research Center, where he is leading our company to new standards in broadband wireless data transmission. In fact, John's achievements are shaping the future for wireless technologies around the globe. Whether you have laptops, desktops, or personal digital assistants, John's work promises to increase wireless data as cell phones are in our daily lives today. His recent development of spherical space-time coding for wireless local area networks will allow Nokia to develop wireless scheme with fourfold increase in data rates. For you, that discovery will make it possible to transmit large documents instantaneously using wireless devices and redefine instant messaging. The quality, the speed, clarity of real video conferencing, gaming, and television over local area networks will be revolutionized by John's work. Dr. John Terry has multiple patents pending and a book that are certain to energize product developers looking to come up with all kinds of fancy devices, portable or even wearable. Therefore, it gratifies me deeply to present this award for outstanding technical contributions in industry to Dr. John Terry.
Hello. My mother was a high school teenager when I was born, with no means of supporting us. The only father figure I had in my life growing up was my granddad, for whom I'm named. When I turned 7, my granddad died, leaving me without a father figure to provide encouragement and guidance. I responded to this by escaping into books. And I rose through 9 reading levels in 12 weeks. That fierce quest for learning that began as a result of his loss has taken me to heights I never dreamed. I am grateful to my angel, Dr. Gwen Earl, the high school guidance counselor, who showed me that I could use my mind instead of sports to capture the future. Thank you.
There are over 6 billion people in the world. How do you find people like this? I mean, how do you know that they exist and they have the right skills you need to solve your problem? Sounds like a fairy tale.
It sure does. And that's the point. See, behind each of these winners, there's a story. And the guides are telling those with relish and reverence. But there's also a story to be told about products and services they develop. Because as you have so wisely pointed out, no one can use what they don't know about. And no one can know about your technical solutions unless you employ expert storytellers. Someone who knows the needs of these 6 billion people that you talked about and knows just how well their technical innovations can satisfy those needs. And that's why we recognize these next recipients. See, they are master storytellers of sales who know just how to market their products to the whole world.
The Technical Sales and Marketing Award will be presented by John Sisponic, Vice President and Manager, America's Sales and Marketing at Texas Instruments. Please welcome John Sisponic.
Cheryl Richardson came to work at Texas Instruments in 1995, already primed for excellence. She began at TI as a technical sales representative, faced with the challenge of managing an assigned account base to increase sales of our products. Cheryl achieved over 500% sales growth in a 3-year period with manufacturers that use TI circuitry and their products. She also managed new business development activities through TI's distributors, developed an aggressive training program for both customer and company personnel, and coordinated groundbreaking seminars demonstrating better ways for customers to use Texas Instruments products. Cheryl's efforts culminated in the development of a program aimed at improving effectiveness of distributor advocates who helped to close sales and win designs at significant TI clients. She was so effective that we promoted her. Cheryl is now a regional market development manager responsible for developing and driving sales strategies for all TI products in the Bay Area, the mecca of the electronics industry. In less than 2 years, she has won digital and analog designs that increased sales to $62 million in fiscal 2000 and will result in over $105 million in incremental revenue over the next 3 years. I am proud and honored to present this award for outstanding sales and marketing achievement to Cheryl Richardson.
Growing up, I was filled with curiosity. At 9, a boy dared me to climb to the top of a star in the playground. I reached the top, and as I fell and broke my arm in 3 places, I thought I showed him. In high school chemistry, I mixed ingredients contrary to clear instructions. And as my teacher fumed at the cool little fire, I marveled at the discovery. Then came the summer enrichment experience and engineering program that channeled my curiosity. Going in, I didn't know a diode from a resistor, but the experience was truly enriching. This award confirms what I learned from my mother, that the difference between stepping stones and stumbling blocks is how you focus your mind. Thank you.
To make a second presentation of the award for technical sales and marketing, please welcome Marcia Page, Vice President for Marketing, E-Marketing at Texas Instruments.
John Seaton began his career at New York's Manufacturers Hanover Trust Company while still an electrical engineering major. He helped to develop the corporate data network for money movers. John then completed a master's degree in electrical engineering while making another transition to AT&T Bell Labs. At Bell Labs, he designed landline networks for cellular phone systems. His international exposure came through networking with clients building GSM wireless networks. In 1995, John helped Southern New England Telephone and Bell South design data rings to increase bandwidth. He then became a data network consultant for AT&T Business Communications Services, providing data networking expertise to the account executives serving the largest AT&T clients. John's fierce dedication, creative problem solving, and combination of business and technical sharpness helped his team grow their business by more than 22% in 1 year. In 1998, John took a new job with Cisco Systems, providing data and voice networking expertise to blue-chip companies and the state of New Jersey. There, John provides pre-sales technical support, customer and account team training, RF response development, customer presentations, and support of customer trials. It is with great pleasure that I present this award for technical sales and marketing to Mr. John Seaton.
science was fascinating. While other kids read comic books, I read popular science. My parents never censored my access to our basement, where there were plenty of stuff to exploit. Then in the 7th grade, fate sent me a black male teacher who taught science and made it look cool. This wizard was the embodiment of my father's belief that an educated black man couldn't be stopped. I was hooked for life. Tonight, I am grateful for my parents, my science teacher, and fate, who sprinkle science with the mystique of magic just to give me a grown-up career. Thank you.
So, what do you think makes a person a professional?
Well, in the church, a confessional is quietly telling somebody about your sins and your sorrows. So, I guess a professional is loudly yelling at everybody about your winnings and your laurels. Laurels, crowns, get it?
My mentor used to tell me to strive hard to avoid being the poster child for ignorance. Now pay attention. A professional is one who has exceeded the mastery of skills and crafts and is now adding to the bank of knowledge that defines a certain discipline. See, in order to contribute to the existing knowledge base, necessarily assumes that you have mastered the current content as well as the theoretical domain. The stories of these next winners will show just how much beyond mastery we must go to achieve professional excellence. We're now going into the realm of exemplary creativity.
Present the first award for outstanding career achievement in government. Please welcome Mr. Martin Fega, President and CEO of the MITRE Corporation.
For most engineers, success is measured by the things they can create. But for Mackenzie Thomas, we're blessed to measure success by what he avoids. Mackenzie is a senior reactor inspector at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. He began his career by earning a bachelor's degree with honors in physics and math from Alabama A&M University in 1975. He moved on to Howard University, acquiring a master's degree in nuclear engineering. Mackenzie joined the Nuclear Regulatory Commission as an intern, then as a full-time inspector in 1978, just in time for 3 Mile Island. However, what impresses me most about Mackenzie is his personal triumph over obstacles. Despite being born the son of a tenant farmer in the rural South, he achieved academic excellence both at the undergraduate and graduate levels in the difficult areas of physics and nuclear engineering. Now he takes on the difficult task of inspecting reactors. His inspection work is complex. It requires careful step-by-step planning and implementation. He is a member of an elite cadre of individuals who assure reactor safety for all of America. For such long, quiet success, I want to make a lot of noise in presenting this award for career achievement to Mackenzie Thomas.
When my 10 siblings and I grew up outside of Selma, Alabama, we helped our parents pick cotton to make ends meet. Despite the constant struggle of these hard-working tenant farmers, money was always low and debt was high. I dreamed of Major League Baseball as a way to a better life, but I couldn't hit the curveball to save my soul. It was in this teachable moment that my parents said to me, with a sound education, you can hit the curveballs of life. Their faith gave me a one-way ticket out of dead-end cotton fields, and I'm eternally grateful to God for their loving advice. Thank you.
William Swanson is Executive Vice President of Raytheon and President of Raytheon Electronic Systems. He comes to present an award for career achievement in industry to a friend and colleague. Please welcome Bill Swanson.
Thank you. Manuel Brady began his career in the aerospace and defense business as a computer operator. At the same time, he was also pursuing a mathematics degree at California State University at Los Angeles. Everyone knew by his drive that he was a rising star. In those days, one computer filled a large room. Today, a small palm-sized system has much more computing power. The pace of change has been truly dramatic, and over the years, Emmanuel has been a driving force in keeping Raytheon at the very leading edge of information technology. On his own initiative, early in his career, Emmanuel taught himself how to install an operating system on the IBM mainframe. He learned so effectively that he virtually took over the IBM school he later attended. In 1986, Emmanuel led the development of one of the first electronic data interchange setups to speed payment of invoices for the Air Force. He played a key role in the consolidating of 13 IBM data centers into one, saving over $40 million. He later saved millions of dollars from software expenses by consolidating operating systems onto one processor. New ideas on how to use network printers for graphic output were developed by Emmanuel. Today, he is Vice President and Chief Information Officer for Raytheon Electronic Systems, managing an organization of over 500 individuals and a budget of over $250 million. It is with great pride that I present this award for career achievement to my friend and colleague, Emmanuel Brady.
When I yearned to know what made things work, my father taught me to use tools. When I asked my mom how grown-ups knew so much, she taught me to build numbers and words. My high school science teacher was an engineer and the smartest person I knew. I saw the power he commanded with brains, so I mastered math and science too. When computers excited me, I learned to program. The impact of decision makers inspired me to manage and lead. Of all the things I know for sure, nothing creates a teachable moment quite like desire and inspiration. And nothing inspires gratitude beyond this realization. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Ralph Heath, Executive Vice President for Operations of the Lockheed Martin Aeronautics Company, where he is responsible for the day-to-day management. Mr. Heath is here to honor another recipient of the award for career achievement in industry.
Thank you. Michael Fortson is Director of Joint Strike Fighter Affordability and Continuous Improvement at Lockheed Martin Aeronautics Company. But in truth, Mike has a two-track career. A design engineer with executive responsibilities to develop the world's most advanced fighter plane, and a warrior pilot still serving as an engineering officer in the Air Force Reserves. Here is the stuff which a magnificent career is made. Mike began his career with an obsession to be a fighter pilot. Health problems intruded, and this determined young Air Force reservist joined Lockheed Martin in 1991. He accepted the responsibility to help design the F-22 Raptor, the most advanced fighter plane in the world has seen. The Raptor is a stealth-shielded, radar-evading aircraft demanding composite coatings made to exact tolerances. Fortson plunged into the work making composites to design specifications with exciting innovations along the way. Mike's innovations saved over $45 million. In the reserves, Mike was an expert at battle damage repair. He was activated during the Gulf War and the Kosovo campaign, and his Air Force superiors marveled at his innovative spirit in the field. He now plays a very critical role on our newest airplane, the Joint Strike Fighter. I am delighted to present this award for career achievement to Michael Fortson.
I too like that theme music. My parents believed profoundly in home ownership, but a drug-infested, gang-dominated nightmare is what we had to live in because that's all they could afford off the Air Force Base at the beginning of their career. But they realized that living in and staying in that type of environment, we might succumb to the misery. So we moved to the Air Force Base, where I became enchanted with flying. One day, the famed Thunderbirds were doing their death-defying aerial feats. Then they landed, and out of one of those jets emerged a black pilot. Well, I was hooked like a rainbow trout. I mean, I was determined to fly. But fate stepped in and intervened and medically dashed my hopes for my wings. But she didn't totally diminish my dreams because I designed those magnificent machines now. Dream, believe, persist, persevere. Thank you.
Wow. You mean to tell me that all these black people actually did all that?
Told you we were going to say wow. They sure did, and more.
And not just making it up?
Not a word.
Awesome. Boy, I wonder if I could do that.
Can you dance?
What?
Dance. Can you dance? You do know what that is.
Of course I know what dancing is, old geezer. I just don't know what you're babbling about.
What does it mean to dance?
It means to have some fun, old man, something that was invented long after your time. It means to slam, to get down with some music and some homies and some juice. Hey, Mr. Engineer, your words are kind of nice. But do you have a patent that will reconstruct my life? Just tell me, Madam Engineer, what do I have to do to escape despair and grow up just like you?
It's not likely that you would be so enchanted with a dancing if it were just some frivolous courtship ritual slam. The rapture of dance is engendered by creatively syncopated steps, synchronous rhythmic turns, dynamic bodily contortions, choreographed to oscillating beats, culminating in a festive celebration of accomplishment.
Can you say that in Ebonics?
In life, just as in dance, success hinges on creativity, rhythm, action, productivity, and a certain festive vigor. When you dance through life with this formula, your outcome can be nothing short of astounding. Listen, as this next presenter tells us about dancing engineers.
Can we just listen to the rest? I'm beginning to get the picture.
Wait. Now, let's be sure you understand what is happening here. See, there are some educational leaders called deans who have been educating younger people from historically black colleges and universities with competitive qualifications for more years than they care to count. When one of these graduates is selected for one of these awards, you should ask, when was the last time they walked on water? Now, pay attention.
Here to make the presentation of the Dean's Award is a person who lives up to those rigorous standards. Please welcome Ivory Tucker, Vice President of Norden Systems in the Electronic Systems sector of Northrop Grumman Corporation.
You've often seen someone act as if he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. Julius Longshore is someone like that. Allow me just a moment to explain. What makes this nation the world's only superpower is the highly advanced technical ability of our military. The capacity to detect before one can be detected and the ability to destroy before a defense can be mounted is what Julius does. The Navy's E-2C is the vehicle that Julius flies. It is the aircraft for which we depend for early warning, aerial surveillance, and control. Julius Longshore leads the team at Northrop Grumman, responsible for testing and evaluating the Hawkeye and other such aircraft to make certain our pilots maintain a wide competitive edge over the opposition. Not only does Julius fly test missions, he leads the team that talks to the designers and engineers to make certain they know what the aircraft needs to do to protect the pilot and to maintain that edge. This is how Julius Longshore bears the weight of the world on his broad shoulders. And also why I am proud to present this recognition by the engineering deans of historically black colleges and universities, the Dean's Award to Julius Longshore.
Thank you, Ivan. My father was with Lockheed for 40 years, where he worked as an airframe technician. We kids followed with fascination the progress of each new plane through the papers my father brought home from work. We witnessed his awe for the test pilots who flew those airplanes, and his regret that none of those were ever black. So when I came of age, I went to work for Grumman and took my dad on a tour of the facility. I wanted to show him a black test pilot before he died. My dad deeply cherished telling all his friends that the test pilot on that plane was his son. At that point, my gratitude was sealed. Thank you.
The next honoree is the winner of the President's Award.
So, because the deans gave an award, the college presidents got jealous and wanted to give one too. Is that it?
Be quiet and learn. First, these are not the college presidents, but the president of the awards board. And this award came about because there are some accomplishments that just don't fit snugly into any category. They're just too big.
The President's Award will be presented by Daniel Packer, President and Chief Executive Officer of Energy.
As a young man, James Hubbard dreamed of being a marine engineer and completed a 3-year course at a local maritime institute. He was duly licensed as a merchant marine officer just in time for ferrying equipment to and from the war in Vietnam. James left the maritime service to enroll in physics at Morgan State University, where he became an instant star, devouring science and math courses. Later, Hubbard enrolled in mechanical engineering at MIT. In 1977, James Hubbard became the first black ever to receive the PhD in mechanical engineering at MIT. He later patented an adaptive sensor called SmartSkin. Initially, SmartSkin was marketed to signal automotive computers whether to deploy an airbag. Recent refinements allow it to power sensor pads for hospital beds, so patients can be monitored unobtrusively. Dr. Hubbard owns 12 patents and founded his company, iProvica, to capitalize on his inventions. Hubbard is an advisor on the Civilian Technology Board, advising the Chief of Naval Research, and an internationally recognized member of the Society of Professional Optical Engineers. It is a great honor for me to present this President's Award to Dr. James Hubbard.
Thank you, Mr. Packer, and a special thanks to A. I grew up in Virginia in the 1950s, where the sweltering grip of Jim Crow clouded my view of success. I remember when my greatest dream was to become a floor boss at the local tobacco mill. But in 7th grade, my teacher, Mrs. Catherine Brown, showed me that the wicked aim of racism was to diminish a person's dreams. She said, knowledge is the key to unlock power and freedom. With knowledge, I could elevate my dreams, free myself, and take control of my destiny forever. This honor is a signpost to that struggle for personal freedom. I thank you for the award and the inspiration this forum provides to us all.
From educational pursuits to career successes and all the striving in between, they all contribute to a lifetime of successive achievements. To make the presentation of the Lifetime Achievement Award, we call upon 2 representatives from tonight's sponsor, Tom Lasorda, Executive Vice President of Manufacturing, and Richard Chauwa, Vice President of Powertrain Manufacturing and Powertrain Corps Leader, both of Daimler Chrysler Corporation.
Robert has spent his entire life building automobiles that power America's lifestyle. In 1963, when he joined General Motors as a managerial employee, few African Americans held white-collar positions in the auto business, although many worked in the plants. Bob has held leadership positions throughout his automotive career in 7 plants, in 5 states, over 4 decades of his lifetime, before retiring in 2000.
But Bob Bowers could never retire.
He has a passion for this industry, a passion to run a business. Bob and I worked together personally over the years and became great personal friends. I asked him about running a foundry for Daimler Chrysler in Indianapolis. Told him it would be the challenge of his career. It was a major, major turnaround project. He said, "When do I start?" A year later, what a turnaround. It is recognized as a major turnaround throughout Daimler Chrysler worldwide.
The foundry that Bob leads is one of 2 in the United States to successfully gain certification of having achieved environmental protection standards. And Bob is the only African American who runs a foundry in this country. Bob has done such a great job that just yesterday he was appointed to be the new leader of our Detroit Axle facility.
This gentleman is my hero, full of integrity, loyalty, and is a proud father and husband. I love this guy. It is with great pride, respect, and admiration that we stand here to honor a work life, a family life very well lived. We present, on behalf of Daimler Chrysler Corporation and the people here tonight, this black engineer for lifetime achievement to Robert Bowers.
Well, thank you, Tom and Richard. I'd like to tell you that my father tended a dairy farm, and we were 7 kids, had chores before going to school. When I was 8, I was aroused at 4 a.m. in the morning from my father's heavy hand, warning my brothers and me to milk 40 cows before breakfast. With little formal schooling, my father wisely understood the supreme value of education to success. My parents invited teachers to our home for a monthly roundtable talk. Our grades and our behavior were the agenda. We always showed our best stuff to avoid shaming them, for we understood that their second chances were through us. Now, as I climb the corporate ladder, I don't have to look down or back because my parents led me forward and up by their examples. Thank you.
You've been rather quiet, young'un. What are you thinking?
Look out there at those children, old man, and tell me what you see.
I see a bunch of wasted minds wasting time on basketball and petty rhymes, and every last one of them leading in the wrong direction.
Isn't it interesting, old man, that when you look at rivers, you see power, but when you look at children, you see problems. When I look out there, I see powerful dreams. I see more power in those children than you can ever hope to see in your river. Look, I don't mean to diss you, man. I've enjoyed you all this while. But perhaps you ought to see the world through the eyes of a child. The potential of these children, man, will put that river to shame. But you can only see that if you believe we have a brain. So here's my question, Mr. Engineer. For all these honors so grand, What can me and my posse expect to gain if we decide to follow you, man? What can we expect to see, to be, to do with you? What, Mr. Engineer? What?
That was a very profound observation coming from a cultural castaway. But then it's precisely my point. You and your friends have within you now all the power necessary to join this pageantry of life. You should be the grand marshals of life's success parade. But to do that requires a very special focus, a talent for survival, a hunger for success. So I have but one last story to share with you. Afterwards, it will be in your hands. To live life is to learn and lead by example. Life's true champion is the one who, when growing up, chooses the right leaders to follow, and when grown up, chooses to lead her followers right. Behold.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robert Stevens, President and Chief Operating Officer of Lockheed Martin Corporation, is entering the stage accompanied by the family of tonight's winner. As conference sponsor, Mr. Stevens will present the award to this year's Black Engineer of the Year, Mr. Stevens.
Good evening. Rodney O'Neill is an Executive Vice President of Delphi Automotive Systems and President of the company's Safety, Thermal, and Electrical Architecture sector. He is a member of the Delphi Strategy Board, the company's top policy-making group, and serves as Executive Champion for Delphi's Ford Customer Team. Now, you may not know Rodney or Delphi Automotive, but I assure you they've both touched your life in some way. Let me tell you why. Delphi Automotive Systems is a world leader in making components for your car. They have 3 business sectors with 195,000 employees operating in 43 countries. They make components like window defoggers, climate control systems, electrical wiring designs controlling ignition, lighting, and sound systems, and other parts that are the heart and soul of the safety, comfort, and convenience of your car. In fact, Delphi Automotive is the largest producer of automobile components in the world. They are even under contract to supply the electronics for the Segway human transporter, destined to scoot itself into our lives in the near future. Rodney O'Neill is one of the top 5 corporate officers leading Delphi Automotive and the chief executive of the sector directly responsible for electrical systems, heating and air conditioning components, and creative solutions for automobile safety. He is responsible for 110,000 employees. Rodney began his automotive career as a student at General Motors Institute in 1971. In 1976, he joined the Inland Division, where he held a number of engineering and manufacturing positions in Dayton, Ohio, Portugal, and Canada. Rodney was named Director of Industrial Engineering for the former Chevrolet Pontiac GM of Canada Group in 1991, and the following year became a Director of Manufacturing for the former Automotive Components Group Worldwide, now Delphi Automotive Systems. After successive promotions to positions of increasing responsibility between 1994 and 1998, Rodney was named to his current position in January 2000. To help me introduce to you this year's Black Engineer of the Year, I give you now the old storyteller who will tell us how Rodney O'Neill came to roost at the top of this magnificent perch.
Try to remember when life was so tender that no one wept except the willow. Try to remember when life was so tender, when dreams were kept beside your pillow. Try to remember life was so tender, love was an ember about to blow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow, 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 follow.
I remember when Rodney O'Neill was just a little Dayton daydreamer. He would sit in the classroom most of the day, staring out the window, lost in dreams. Old Miss Miller, his teacher, would call his mother, Ida B., and complain about his daydreaming. Then when James, his dad, came home from work for dinner, Ida B. would say, James, you got to talk to Rod about the daydreaming. James would say, well, now, Ida B., you know, you can't advise the inadvisable. He's just a free spirit, and you can't capture a free spirit. The only way to control one is to lay a solid foundation set by a sterling example and hope and pray that it will catch you. So they set out to cement an indestructible foundation in which to plant their chances. They decided that a strong family would give them a huge advantage. James made sure his three boys saw that there was nothing you can't do. Can't for them was a coward's argument for not trying. Rod grew up watching his parents into gardening, rebuilding engines and old things, fixing other mechanical contraptions hanging around the house. He even saw his daddy build his own house with his own hands. But Rod never dreamed of them sad. He never heard them utter a single word of pity. No, sir. He grew up hearing his parents saying, education will give you chances you can't get no other way. Or, all you have is your word. And if you ever lose that, you are a wretched being. Some days the family drove around looking at dream houses, and Rod would see one, he'd say, wow, they must make a lot of money to own a house like that. And James would whisper, you know, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. Pitch, patch, a free spirit catch. Percy Jones, Rodney's high school teacher, was a genius, but one day he told Rod's parents, this boy daydreams too much. He can't cut it in math. If I were you, I'd think about taking him out of the class. Rod agreed. But his parents had a genius for guiding free spirits. They understood that daydreaming signified a vigorous mind. Their boy was not just smart, he was brilliant. But he would never tolerate being told he had to stay in that class. So James said to him one day, you know, we're going to take you out of that math class because that's what you want. But that teacher doesn't believe you can cut it. Now, if it was me, I would stay in there and prove him wrong. But since it's you and you want out, we'll take you out. Ha! Bing, there, a free spirit snare. Rod stayed and showed old Percy Jones that he might be a genius in math, but he didn't have a clue about free spirits. Well, in 1970, Rod was looking for a college to study computers like his brother. Money was scarce, so his search was going slow. Now, it happened that at that very same instant, General Motors was seeking minorities to attend General Motors Institute. The applicants had to be of exceptional on grades and test scores and deportment. Just as Rod was looking for college, Mrs. Richardson, the high school guidance counselor, was looking for Rod. Only Rod. She said, Rodney, you should apply to GMI. But he'd never heard of GMI, so he promptly forgot about it. But Mrs. Richardson had had some experience with free spirits herself. She filled out the application, coaxed him to sign it, and then explained to him that at GMI there were no girls, no sports, but they paid you to attend. a zip and a zap and a free spirit trap. Well, here's the sum of it all. Everybody he met could have left Rodney to his own devices, but they did not. Why? Because what they saw in him was far greater than what they didn't see. A long-time manager said to him one day as he was moving up the corporate ladder to success, he said, if you climb on our shoulders, we'll carry you to the top. All you have to remember is to never dig in your heels. Huh? That's all I've got to say right now. But this, whenever you see a child lost in a trance, don't be so quick to write him off. It may just be a free spirit daydreaming his way all the way from the bottom of Dayton to the top of Delphi. And if you can't imagine that, just remember this. The Black Engineer of the Year for 2002, Rodney O'Neill.
That's a big technical term, wow. It's truly an honor to be here this evening to accept this award and to beat me. If you'd asked me 35 years ago as a young teenager growing up in Dayton, Ohio, to define success, I would have told you that the world would be mine if I could make just $15,000 a year, have a nice crib, and a slick set of wheels. It's all I could imagine. That was my dream. I certainly would not have imagined this magnificent evening. I would not have imagined opportunities to live and work all over the world, handling large corporate, complex operations. I would not have imagined knowing other African Americans in similar positions. And I would not have imagined these things because, as you know, back then, America was a far different place. A technically gifted man could not get a mortgage. It was a place where there was no examples of African American executive role models. It was a place where the halls of power, and for that matter, many restaurants and public restrooms were close to me. So when people ask me, did you have a master plan? I can only give one answer. No, because I had no idea that this sort of achievement was even possible, even in my dreams. I had no master plan, but what I did have from the start were people who believed in me. I had my dad who told me how far I could go, who made me believe that I had a gift for technical things, and who helped me see my own leadership abilities, and who saw my free spirit as an asset, even when others saw me as a daydreamer. I had a guidance counselor, Mrs. Richardson, who knew that without financing, there would be no college for me, and who wouldn't let up until I sent in my application to General Motors, which is now called Kettering University. I had a mentor, Bill Quilty, who talked me out of quitting GMI and General Motors probably 1,000,000 times, because no matter how much I sometimes struggled with a vastly different culture, the loneliness, the sense of isolation as an African American, Bill managed to keep me there, advising me to stay and change things instead of quitting. It's always been my good fortune to have been surrounded and supported by individuals who have cared about me. People who unselfishly lifted me on their shoulders and carried me to success across the abyss of failure. So I dedicate this award to all the people who have made it possible for me to be here, the African-American trailblazers of the past, my friends, and all of the wonderful individuals who took the time, made the effort to help me reach my full potential. Most importantly, I want to thank my family who supported me, who loved me, and reminded me of what really was important over and over and over again. My pillar of strength, my lovely wife, Pamela, my princess, my daughter, Heather, and the baby boy, my son, Damien. You truly are the air underneath my wings. So my metrics for success have radically changed since those days back in Dayton. I've come to gauge success by the number of hearts I've gathered during my lifetime, and by that account, I am one of the most successful and richest men in the world. For me, this award represents the power that flows from the love and help of others, and it is indeed a great honor. Finally, to all the young people out there, dream big. Imagine the impossible. Imagine the improbable. It can come true for you. And above all, please remember that to get anywhere in life, you have to do it yourself, but you cannot do it alone. Thank you so much.
Hey, Mr. Engineer, can I walk with you a while and learn to read the signs of life through the eyes of a child? Say, Madam Engineer, will you let me follow you so I can learn how I should lead my crew?